You excited?
Yeah, I'm
Have you ever
excited.
done anything like this before?
No,
This will be fun.
I'm excited.
And what's your name? Nice to meet you. I love that you guys are matching. It's super cute.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome to another Red Quill Media episode. Here we're live here at the Last Chance Stampede and Rodeo. And special thanks to New Vision Thrift Store, who graciously provided this entire beautiful setup for us to do these podcasts in. I'm here with my new friend Chandler, and we're gonna just chat a little bit. So why don't you tell everyone about yourself just a little bit?
I'm 13 and I don't know. I play a lot of sports.
Oh, nice. What sports?
Volleyball,
Here,
basketball.
try and be a little closer. You got it.
Volleyball, basketball, and I did cheer for a long time.
Nice. And what would you say is your favorite sport you've played?
Volleyball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That way we can see your beautiful face. So just tell me a little bit, what made you want to jump on the podcast here today?
I thought it would be really fun, and my parents are very involved in politics, and I don't know, I think they would think that it's really cool if I did something like this.
That's awesome. What are the ways your parents are involved?
I don't know, they just like post a lot about it on their social media, and they're just very like open and vocal about it,
Nice.
as well as I am.
Yeah. What are some of the ways that you've been vocal about standing up for your beliefs?
Posting it on my social media or reposting about it on my social media, or like telling my friends about it and like not backing down if they're like trying to like debate me, I guess.
Yeah. That's good. What would you say has influenced your beliefs the most?
My parents and me being Christian, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, faith is definitely a big one, and my parents as well. I was actually homeschooled growing up, so my parents were in my life to an even greater degree than a lot of kids get, and I think that definitely shaped who I am. Having those deep discussions with them about faith and politics and culture. So I would love to hear, do you go to a public school?
Yeah,
or?
I go to
Okay.
CR.
Okay. Wonderful. That's
Yeah.
so fun. My opponent in my race actually teaches at CR.
Are you allowed to tell me who it is?
Um,
Is it Megan?
mhm.
Yeah, I know her. She is a science teacher, and she also does photography at my school.
Yeah. Yeah, she seems like a great person. I just don't agree politically.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I would love to hear how what's it like being an outspoken conservative at your school, because I imagine there's a lot of kids and your friends who wouldn't necessarily agree with
Yeah,
you.
I actually had a conversation with my friend about this today, because she was like talking to me about people who have been like upset with her, and then she was all like, "You don't support me and my beliefs," and I was like, "I do, but I know you don't." She's like, "Yeah, you're trying to take my rights away and all
Wow.
of this," and I was like, "Okay, well, like you can have your opinions and stuff, but like let's not bring up politics all the time." And then she blocked me.
Welcome to the club. Sometimes standing up for truth and for what matters gets you blocked by people. It's happened to me too.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the issues that tend to be kind of those hot topics with your friends at school?
I just think that like a lot of friendships can get ruined, and like everything like revolves around politics
Yeah.
to a lot of people, which I feel like it doesn't need to when we're like
For
so
sure.
young. Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of people, when they get invested in politics, it's like, I heard someone talk about, as a Christian conservative, your goal is to be Christian first and then conservative.
Yeah.
And being conservative flows out of your faith in God and your values that you have from that. And I think sometimes people get it backwards and instead take a political stance for the sake of, liking a certain politician or wanting to engage in a certain argument. And so then they end up forming their values and their beliefs around their political opinion rather than the other way around. It's kind of how I see it happen the most. So I would love to hear. I've got two younger sisters who are about your age too. And I know for both of them and for me, everything with Charlie Kirk was pretty influential in my kind of political trajectory. I actually did not want to run for office. I was working at the governor's office and was doing fine, was happy chilling there. Yeah. And then I had a friend come and ask me if I would run. And I was like, no, you're crazy. Yeah. Why would I do that? I was 18 at the time, was like, you're insane. And he just kept asking. And then after Charlie Kirk was murdered, I realized, the only real reason I said I wasn't going to run for office was because I was scared. And everything else is just reasons I'd given myself to justify my own fear. And at the end of the day, like, as a Christian, I shouldn't allow myself to be ruled by my fear when I feel like God is calling me in this way to serve the people around me, like to allow fear to be the thing that makes me not do that. Like, I just, when I realized that, I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this now. But I would love to hear, has any of the stuff with Charlie Kirk recently and Turning Point kind of influenced your views?
Well, when it all happened, I went to Helena Christian.
Oh, yeah?
And I remember, like, hearing about it and stuff, and I thought it was just, like, fake news and stuff.
I thought it was fake, too, at first.
Yeah, like, kids were talking about it in the hallway, and I was like, yeah, there's no way that's true. And then I got in the car, and I was like, is it true that Charlie Kirk was assassinated? And my parents were like, yeah. And then, like, I switched to CR very shortly after that, and everybody was either talking about how he deserved it, or that, like, it was murder and that, like, a family man was taken out and, like, all of that. Yeah. And it was just, like, so hard hearing people talk about how he deserved it, because nobody deserves to die because of their political views.
Yeah, political violence is rough right now. What do you think are some of the things, like, do you feel like you see that sort of mentality still going on, or, like, has it gotten worse or better since Charlie?
I think that, like, people just, like, they talk and they make up rumors and they add stuff onto stories and they make, like, cruel jokes about stuff. And it's just, like, I don't even know. But,
right.
Yeah.
And are those things that, or have you found that those sort of people will outwardly say that to you or to your friends who believe the same? Or is it kind of like gossip that you catch on to?
People are so open about, like, what they think. Like, I had, like, a huge incident happen at my school with a teacher and a student, and everybody was making jokes and, like, so openly. And when she came back to school, they would, like, harass her and talk all about that. And I think it, like, kind of goes hand in hand about, like, making the cruel jokes, like, very outwardly and stuff.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, it comes down to we should never, we should always be sad when there's death or, any sort of tragedy. And so to see that everything with Charlie Kirk has been taken to be this,
joke
off
or
the rails
meme.
Joke and meme. Yeah. Well, and I feel like I don't see the joking or the memes as much because most of the people I hang out with do take some of it more seriously because most of us are involved in politics.
Yeah.
But I definitely, like, when I'm hanging out with some of my cousins sometimes, like, I see that a lot more.
Yeah.
So what I would love to hear from your perspective as a student, what are some of the things that you would like to see the schools do better about? Like, what's something good the schools are doing and what's something you think they can improve on? Especially since you've spent time at schools like Helena Christian, you kind of have something to compare it to.
Yeah, at Helena Christian, like, nobody talked about politics because I feel like a lot of people had the same political views because it's a Christian school. And then at CR, like, there's groups where they're blended. There's very strict conservative groups, and then there's like democratic groups, and then like the teachers. I don't think there's a single conservative teacher at my school, and even in like my science class, they don't even like mention God. They only talk about evolution or the Big Bang. And like I spoke up and I was like, actually no, it was God. And she was like, well,
good
you
for
need
you.
to like keep your opinions to yourself or you can get out of my classroom.
That's crazy.
And, yeah.
It's like, actually your opinion that evolution is the way the world was created. It's also just your opinion.
Yeah.
But you know. Yeah, and do you feel like there's what are some of the other ways that you feel like some of the teachers, like, I guess, do you feel like they give you what stance you should take, or do you feel like they give you the information you need to build your own stance on things?
I think that they say stuff that will influence you into going a certain way instead of giving you the option and like giving you information that can persuade you into either way. They very strictly leave it. Like they'll say horrible stuff about a certain politician that will make you lean towards wanting the other politician, not knowing this horrible stuff that they've said or done.
Interesting. So what is one thing you think could make that better?
I think they should just like talk about either politician in not horrible ways.
Just try and be neutral and positive.
Yeah, and my like geo, we listen to like a non-bias news thing every day, and then my geo teacher, he'll like add things on that'll like make it sound
interesting.
Like,
so it's like, here's some of the facts, and then here's how we think you should interpret those facts. Yeah. So then, in the midst of all of that, what are some of the ways that you help to make sure that you're still standing on truth? And like we mentioned, truth that flows out of your faith, which you know is the ultimate truth, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I go to church and youth group and stuff, and that like definitely like keeps me on track going to a public school where everything is about evolution and the Big Bang.
Right.
So like I think having a good balance of like church and youth group and stuff is good too.
Another thing I've heard a lot of people talk about how their teachers were kind of pushing them towards some of the LGBTQ stuff.
Oh,
do you see that happen a lot?
So much. Like they'll like pull kids aside and be like, I noticed that you might be leaning towards liking somebody of the same gender or something like that.
Wow.
Or like I have my math teacher, like a student hadn't even asked to go by a different name, and she just started calling her a different name and started calling her him without even like talking to the girl. And it like clearly made her uncomfortable and stuff.
Wow.
But it's like,
so definitely like overstepping the student in that case too.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I'd be curious to hear is I've talked to a lot of people, well, mostly I've talked to parents who felt like they were not given a good understanding or good transparency about what was going on with their kid in school.
Yeah.
So do you also see that, like, is there that sort of, like, do you see teachers trying to actively hide things from parents?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that, like, all the time. I got, like, yelled at in math class, and all my friends were on their phones, and I went to text my mom, and she was like, don't go tattle the knee to your mommy, and she, like, snatched my phone out of my hand, and, like, stuff like that, where they're, like, they don't want to get in trouble, so they'll, like, say stuff that can get under your skin, but not enough to, like, say something to somebody.
So what are some ways that you think we could have better accountability in that to make sure that, you know, teachers aren't just taking this way out to say, oh, well, just don't tell your parents, right?
I think they just need to stop saying stuff like that.
There you go. I mean, that's definitely the direct answer. I know from a legislative standpoint, we're always trying to figure out what sort of policies can we put in place. And I was talking with our state superintendent, Susie Hedlin, and she kind of talked about some of the ways that she's worked to get better transparency between parents and what's going on with their kid in school. Yeah. But that's definitely something I would like to look into more.
Yeah, and like my school doesn't take accountability for a lot of stuff. Like when the huge incident happened with a teacher and a student.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They didn't hold an assembly. They didn't have literally anything. And like a bunch of kids were like having panic attacks and stuff like that because they spent so much time around that like administrator.
Yeah.
That there were like had to be counselors come in from different schools to help, and like my first peer teacher was like, you guys need to put your emotions aside because it didn't happen to you and you guys need to suck it up. And they just like don't take accountability for like anything in ours.
And do you think if maybe parents were to, I guess, have greater, not necessarily insight, but maybe have a bit of a say into like the sort of curriculum that's being taught, do you think that would help?
Yeah, and they also don't, my school doesn't have like a Bible study,
Right.
and they have an LGBTQ club, but they don't have a Bible club.
I wonder, do you think it's because nobody's tried to start a Bible club?
I tried to start and they denied it.
Oh,
I tried to have it at lunch in one of my Christian teachers' rooms, and they told me no because it might offend other people. Yeah.
Well, my sister is president of a local Turning Point chapter, and she's always telling me like there's all sorts of chapters, even in a more conservative leaning state like Montana, that it's the same thing. They'll allow certain clubs and groups in schools that are definitely more left leaning, but wouldn't allow any Christian or any conservative groups.
Yeah.
So when you said that they wouldn't allow you, like how did that kind of go down?
Well, I like went to my principal and I was like I'd like to start a Bible study. I already have like over like a dozen girls that would like to be a part of it, and it doesn't have to just be girls, but like girl or boy Bible study. And they were like, I just don't think that that's a good idea because I don't want to offend people who have different like religious beliefs. And
interesting.
Stuff like that. But they haven't.
Even if it's student initiated like that.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. That's another thing is if I'm elected, I definitely want to take a look and say what sort of laws can we get in place to help make sure that there's not that sort of, I mean, it's discrimination against certain students is what it is. And if it was discrimination against a different group of students, then everyone would be losing their minds, right? So it's definitely a bit of a double standard, it seems. I know I have a few friends who work with LifeWise Academy. Have you heard of that?
I don't think so.
So basically what they do is kids are able to get a religious release, and then they take them off school property and do like a Bible study class. And so I know there's groups like that working to still have those sort of Bible focused groups in the schools without having to deal with all the issues of that. But it's definitely a tricky space. So good on you for being the salt and the light in your school. And I would just love to hear, is there anything else, or what would be your encouragement that you would give to another, young Christian or young conservative girl that maybe might encounter some of the same difficulties that you have?
Just to not back down from what you believe in, and that just because other people that might be your friends or that are not your friends tell you that you're wrong or try to persuade you the other way, just to not back down, because God didn't back down, and Jesus didn't back down, and he wouldn't want us to do that.
Yeah. So. I love it. That is so amazing. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast with me. This has been a wonderful conversation. Again, we're here with Red Quill Media at the Last Chance Stampede Fair, and we'll continue to have all different hosts on the podcast, so definitely stay tuned. Great job.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
That was really fun. Thank you.
Yeah,
it was nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
Did a good job kind of navigating. I was like,